My name is Kwabena Chenche Heneboati. Many thanks for joining us here on News Today. Now, heavy rains have washed heaps of mud onto the main Kasoa highway, blocking sections of the road. The situation has caused heavy traffic on the toll booth end of the highway, as sections of the road has been rendered almost unmotorable. Angry residents and motorists who were caught in traffic for long periods say the problem has persisted for years, accusing governments of turning a blind eye to the issue. Now, here are some motorists who spoke to Joy News.
Every time there's a reform, it has been about 4 years ago. You know, they come here, the Kasoa Municipal Assembly, they come and clear, but every day when it rains, the sun will come again.
Oh, okay. The assembly comes in to clear.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Last week I was passing, I saw them cutting the sun. But this last Sunday's or yesterday's downpour, the sun has refilled again.
How really does it worry motorists here, people who are moving?
I've been hearing that at times some of the motorists get accident here. Some people are arrested hospital. Most of their cars that and because of the rain, they have some distant problem with their engines.
Okay. But how do they get accidents? I mean, the sun has just blocked the road. So
now they're taking just one distance.
Okay, they are just using one side section of the road.
If you are speeding the car, they can hit the car in front.
What do you think can be done to find a lasting solution to this problem?
This problem has been there for so many years. It's not fine. So I'm appealing to the government to take both steps once and for all, so it won't happen again. When if the producer, the person, see they talk every time there's rain, you see people they talk too much. Because I see the government not doing his best. But after they know they are big people. But them passing here because they are coming, we have their VAs, they go. But we've been picking throttle. We are suffering. We haven't seen V8 or that big cars. Even if they are trying with their convoy, so they don't have any problem. But we are all human beings. You know, they will help us. Because people are dying here. I think.
Thank you very much, sir.
It's from the hill because of the raining and the erosion. So it has choked the gutter. So we need the government to come and help us so that we can clear the gutter.
But I mean, gutter, can't you clear it yourself?
We did it, but we cannot do it at much, right? So we need the government to come and help us so that we can also use our efforts to help the government also to do it.
But specifically, what help do you need?
We need machines.
Sacks to stop it from the top coming down.
The sacks, so that we fill the sand inside, so that we can fill the gutters from the upstairs.
But how does this worry you here? This
the cars, the passing, the cars. You see the traffic all over because of the sand. They cannot pass through it. So we need help from the government, really.
At all, it's not good. No credit and your momoy, then I'm penny 42 momoy. Near Kakwan and I ain't fast way. Why is your Kujuma? No big train office. It's true, Ghana, you know, Chumua. But one more Musa Kwan, almost fell saying, what does here? Motion among your Kakwan be beyond and Kasoa no my. Yes, Remo, Kasoa for your bread.
Well, my colleague Felix Korea, I'm just returned from that area and joins me in the studio to tell us more about how these people are coping with the situation. Felix, we just saw the visuals. They're pretty disturbing, though. How are they coping?
It's terrible. I mean, just like we saw, you know. When I went there, I met a few guys who voluntarily are trying to get the mud off the streets, and it's terrible. It's like survival of the fittest. If your car is very small, I mean, you definitely suffer. And for many of them, I mean, it's not a new problem. And so one thing we realized was that, you know, we even there are a lot of people, I mean, who saw us who were virtually saying that what you're doing is, you know, I mean, it wouldn't go anywhere. Some of them were even, you know, hurling insults and all that, saying that we've done these stories over and over again. The problem still persists, you know. it's serious. It's just the erosion from the hill that, I mean, gradually moves onto the streets anytime it rains. And I mean, according to some people who live there, they claim that when it rains, no car can use that section of the road.
So which particular section are you referring to?
This is just, I mean, close to the Kasoa toll booth. If you know, the Kasoa toll booth is not too far from there, and there's also, I mean, a construction company just close to that place called Usiadan. And yeah, anytime it rains, that section of the road gets flooded. And one thing I also realized is that, I mean, if you cover a long distance, let's say more than 20 or 50 meters, you realize that the gutters there are choked with sand. You will not even I mean, if you're not told that there's a gutter here, you will not realize that it just end up there. So I mean, as a result of that, when it rains, everything, the sand, the erosion, you know, moves together and builds up on that section of the road, creating, I mean, a very difficult, you know, condition for motorists and residents there.
Considering the comments passed by many of the residents who believe that not much was going to come out of this story, I mean, is that to suggest that government has turned a blind eye to this, that they are aware of the situation yet are refusing to do anything about it?
I mean, talking to some of them, what the sense that I got was that the assembly, the Gassat assembly, actually, you know, works on it, but what they usually do is a temporary measure. It's not a solution that can really deal with the problem, because anytime it rains, they claim the assembly comes in with, you know, caterpillar and other, you know, heavy duty equipment to clear the sand off the street. But I mean, what I saw, the heaps of sand that the guys had gathered was still sitting on the edge of the road, I mean, on the shoulders of the road. And so if it rains now, everything will come back, you know, and I mean, they'll return to square one.
Indeed.
So the assembly is aware of it. They are doing something, but what they are doing is not finding a permanent solution to the problem. It's just temporal.
Okay.
Once they clear it off, it comes back again. And so what many of the residents are saying is that they want a permanent solution to it, and that's that the assembly has to construct big drains there to, you know, accommodate the flood waters anytime it rains.
All right, Felix, many thanks for that update. And that's my colleague Felix Akora, who just returned to the studio from Kasoa and has been bringing us that story about the mud engulfing parts of the road there. Still staying with issues of flooding and all, and at least 5 persons have been killed as overnight heavy rain swept through the central regional capital Cape Coast last night. The 5 include 1 person who was allegedly electrocuted. Now, there are also reports of several roads heavily flooded. NADMO, we are told, has already begun rescue operations in the affected communities. But let's get more now from Central Regional Correspondent Richard Kojo Nyakon, who has been following this issue keenly and is joining me now on phone with more. So, Kojo, can you tell us more about the situation as it stands now?
Well, the situation is that the NADMO regional team has been on the ground. You remember that we reported in the morning that yesterday some residents of a particular area, that Tabazi area community, got some trenches in that area to allow easy flow of water that were building up and were entering into some homes. Yes, indeed, the water did enter some homes and rendered many of them homeless last night. They had to go to other relatives who were on higher ground to sleep at their end. But this morning, NADMO went there to assess the situation, and they said that, well, the situation is normalized. The water has receded now, and the place is returning to normal. And so that is really what we are talking about. According to them, they have enough relief items to cater for the situation that is at hand, and so there is no cause for alarm.
So now, we are seeing a lot of visuals on the screens, and it's presupposed that the situation was that bad yesterday. Are we sure now that NADMO has done enough to ensure that the persons who are here are not affected by these floods? Should they even come in again today?
Well, it has started drizzling now as I speak with you. I'm even being soaked in the rain, and I think yesterday, it rained off the national team match between the under 23 and their counterpart elsewhere, and so the match couldn't even come up. So it was that bad. But as it has started now, I don't know when it is going to stop and how bad the situation is going to be. But that full officials keep assuring me that the situation is going to be under control. They have enough items and they cater for everyone that is affected.
Okay, right. Richard Kojunyako, many thanks for that update. And that was our Central Regional Correspondent, Richard Kojunyako, bringing us updates in the Central Regional Capital, Cape Coast, where we are told that a flooding situation there yesterday led to the death of more than 5 people. We are told 1 person got electrocuted in the process, and even though NADMO is doing a lot to protect lives and property, the situation, we are told, could be worse today because already the rains are setting in once more. Bringing more on that in subsequent bulletins. But away from that, let's turn our attention to education. And more than 410,000 students across the country have today begun sitting the Basic Education Certificate Examinations, that's the BECE. Papers being written are the English language papers 1 and 2, as well as religious and moral education. Now, prior to today's exams, however, the West African Examinations Council (WAEC) said it had instituted stringent measures, such as flying question papers to examination centers to avert the leakage of questions this year following widespread leakages in previous years. But reports coming in from some centers indicate a delay in the arrival of the English paper. Now, at the St. John's Grammar School Center, for instance, the exams had to be delayed for as long as 30 minutes due to the late arrival of the exam questions. Let's get more now from Joseph Akable, who has been to some examination centers and he's been monitoring the processes there. He's joining me now on phone with more. So, Joseph, tell me, which schools have you visited and what have you observed so far?
Well, Commissioner, so far I have been to the St. John's Grammar Center. I've also been to the Abeka Primary and JHS at Padam, and I'm currently at St. Teresa's here at North Kandishi. Now, so far, like we normally say, so good. The process is in session, everything is going on. The only challenge we had to do with the center at St. John's Grammar, where there was a bit of delay to the extent of 30 minutes. Now, when I spoke to the Deputy PRO for the Ghana Education Service, that is for Greater Accra, Mr. Peter Abledigo, he tells me the delay was as a result of a single vehicle that is distributing the papers, that is for the entire municipal assembly. So that led to the delay. Now, another observation that I took notice of us to do with the changes that Ghana Education Service came up with. Now, following the leakages in previous years, the new arrangement now is that students have to be seated 30 minutes before the start of the paper. Now, that is being enforced as well. So students have to enter the exam 30 minutes before the start of the paper. Then again, in terms of the transportation, when the papers are coming in, you have the officials, the WAEC official in there. You also have some Ghana Police Service officers in there, as well as an unclothed official, which we are taking signals to the effect that may be a DNI official in the barrier confirmed for that. So far, the schools that are affected, that has been observation so far.
So that is to suggest that these new directives, the West African Examinations Council told us about earlier, are currently being instituted and are being implemented across the country, we believe.
That is the indication we are taking. The only worry is the fact that it appears to be causing some delay. That is the example of St. John's Grammar School where I expressed.
Okay, right. Many thanks for that. Abe Joseph Akable, who has been monitoring the examinations. And speaking of the Basic Education Certificate examinations that have begun today, he tells us that the situation at the St. John's Grammar Center was a bit different because the papers there arrived about 30 minutes late, so it delayed the process there. We are still following up on that, and we've been to a few more centers, which will be bringing you details of in a short while. But earlier today, my colleague Derek Ekosam interacted with some candidates sitting this year's Basic Education Certificate examination. Now let's bring you more now on the expectations of some of those students.
Philippa, as they've been working at this, they've been learning and studying, they've gone through all the systems of education they have to go through just to get to this point. Today, they begin the 5-day journey towards transitioning from the junior high school to the senior high school. I am at Kotobabi 1 Junior High School, one of the centers here in Accra. I want to speak to the students, find out for them, are they anxious, are they really prepared? I would also want to get the thoughts of the teachers on this as well. It's the first day for you to write the BECE. Are you anxious?
A little bit, but I know that with faith and the learning, we will be able to pass.
Your first paper is today. Which paper are you writing?
English and RME.
How prepared are you for the exams?
I'm really prepared because it takes determination and faith in God and learning. And with the support of the teachers and my parents. I know that it will help us.
You've spoken a lot about faith in God and all of that. How does that play out in all of this?
Someone can do all the learning and all the studying, but without God, you cannot do anything.
So you are confident you pass?
Yes.
Would you want to tell me how many ones you think you will get?
6 ones.
6 ones out of a possible 9. What's your first choice? Which school did you choose?
Achimota College.
Are you ready to go through these exams?
Yes.
Tell me how prepared you are.
Yeah, I'm prepared because I know that we have finished all the syllabus and we have studied hard and we are well prepared to write the exams today.
At times you would study hard and all of that, but when you get in there and you panic a little bit and then you lose sight of all that you've learned, you think that's not going to happen to you too?
No.
You are writing English today. Is that a best subject?
Yes.
That's a best subject. So you are hoping you get a 1?
Yes.
I'll come back so you tell me what the result will be for that English paper you are so much pressed for. But let me speak to this guy as well. Already dressed up with your ruler. But you don't write English with a ruler.
Yes.
So why do you have the ruler in your pocket?
In case of any circumstances.
Really? But
yes.
It's English language?
Yes.
How prepared are you?
Oh, I'm 100% prepared.
100%?
Yes.
More like you score 100% in the exam?
Yes.
Composition, comprehension, which one do you think would favor you?
All is going to favor me.
So you are poised?
Yes.
Great. Let me speak to the teacher as well. You've been training the children for a while now, and this morning I can see that you are here to give them the moral support to go through the papers. You want them to make you proud, right?
Oh, I know. They will definitely make me proud.
What are some of the preparations you took them through?
No, the important thing is that you, as a teacher, you must complete the syllabus to make sure we've done that. I always psyche them, but this is nothing. You should take it as a class test, not even a mock exam. Class test and relax. Thankfully, they are even writing at their own compound here. They are not moving to any other place so that we say acclimatization and these things will disturb them. So I always come to psyche them. You saw anything, it's class test. Sit down, relax, and write.
From what I can see, you have taught the kids well and you hope that they get you the needed results. But how would you feel if the unexpected happens?
Well, I'll take it to be part of the hazards of the job.
They're speaking about faith and the fact that they know God is on their side. Did you teach them that as well?
Well, I teach English language, but I know their RME teacher taught them that. So, action in addition with faith, you are gone.
He says action in addition to faith and you are gone, and that is one of the teachers here at the Kotobabi 1 Junior High School. Students prepared for the exams and all of that.
Well, my colleague Faustina Safu has also been visiting quite a number of centers here in the capital Accra as far as the basic education certificate examinations are concerned. She joins me now in studio with more on what she gathered on her tour. So, Faustina, many thanks for joining us. So, what did you see? What did you gather?
When we went to the first center, which was actually the Accra High School, a number of students were seated down writing the exams, a total number of very heavy students. Though they were a bit quiet, people didn't talk much, people were separated, so there was a lot of spacing between every student. We didn't see much police officials there, though the supervisor there said everything is in control and they're coordinating. So far, the supervisor stated that he hasn't, most of the students came out clean, so no material was found in any student. And with other schools we went to, it was, according to students, the invigilation wasn't that strict, so they were able to operate. They were not tensed and hence were able to deliver. Some of them stated emphatically that most of the questions which came out were already taught in school. Hence, it was easier for them. Others were a bit skeptic about their results, but it was a good turnout. For a first day, most of the supervisors stated that there was no actual malpractice case, so we were just waiting on that. The Sheikh also passed by. He is an official, the manager of Islamic Education Unit in GS for Greater Accra, and so he passed by and he stated that so far everything has been moving on fine.
Okay, we've received reports from other centers that there was a bit of a delay in the arrival of some of these papers. These are question papers which led to a delay in the process itself. Was there a similar situation where you went to?
No, according to the supervisors, the papers arrived on time. They weren't in charge of checking if every question was in place. That was left for WAEC officials. So according to them, the papers arrived on time. Hence, there was no need for any issues with the students, and the students arrived on time as well.
Okay. Finally, we do know that WAEC and GE has put in place a number of measures to ensure that these exams are as credible as they can be. For instance, they mentioned that invigilators or examiners cannot be around the exam halls with their mobile phone devices and other telecommunication gadgets. Did you by any chance see anyone with his phone?
Certainly not. With most centers we went to, the bags of the students were very far from the actual writing point. So for the chances of the students holding a phone is very slim. But
even the invigilators?
Yes, even the invigilators. I didn't notice some from the supervisors themselves, but nevertheless there were some students there who expressed optimism that the exams were something they have seen previously. Now we don't know if it was as a result of them seeing the papers, which we sought clarification, but according to them they've been taught most of the questions. But no phone was on site.
Okay. Yes. Right. Firstly, many thanks for that update. And that was journalist reporter Faustina Safo, who was also visited a number of centers where this year's basic education certificate examinations are currently being conducted. But Deputy Education Minister Samuel Okujeto-Ablakwa, ahead of the exams, cautioned parents and heads of schools against conniving with fraudsters to compromise the integrity of this year's BECE. Let's take a listen to him.
We have approved the improved security measures that the West Africa Examination Council has put together. And the West Africa Examination Council assures us that this time, working more closely with our security agencies, they hope to guarantee an incident-free and a leakage-free BECE exams. We have told the West Africa Examination Council that we will hold them accountable to their promise. We carried out a special operation with the support of the Bureau of National Investigation, and we identified that there were a number of rogue websites where leaked examination papers could be found after fees had been paid or monies have been parted to these fraudsters. So far, 10 people have been arrested behind these rogue websites. One of them is a WAEC staff, but as many as 4 of them are GES staff. And it is regrettable to announce that these GES staff have been sanctioned and have been removed from office and from coming anywhere near examinations conducted in this country. We continue to prosecute those who have been arrested so far, but we want to appeal to parents, to school heads, that the only way out is to support your children to study, to make good use of the time for studies and for revision. There are no shortcuts, and there can't be shortcuts, and shortcuts will not be countenanced. So those who, because they are heads of schools and they want to advertise 100% pass rate, and so they will work with fraudsters to compromise the system. Parents who are willing to pay anything. Students themselves who want to follow so-called mongers. We need to get back to our values, to get back to the right way of doing these things. It is only through hard work and through focusing on our studies that we can pass. Because if you follow leakages, and it is detected, and it's always detected, the papers are cancelled, and you have to rewrite. So what's the point?
Watching news today here on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. We are taking a break, but do stay on, because when we come back, we'll bring you a story from the northern region where some persons who purport themselves to be witches are demanding leap funds. We'll be back with those details. Stay with us. Now time for some business update, and a lot more services in the oil and gas industry should from now be provided by local artisans rather than expatriates for the benefit of the economy. That's according to the Vice President of Modec International, Puneet Sharma, citing the $1.6 million World Training Center which opened over the weekend, constructed by Modec in collaboration with Talo Ghana. The facility is to equip local artisans with the requisite professional skills and certification for developing the country's oil and gas industry. Mr. Sharma explains to Joy Business the initiative advances the country's local content agenda.
Future projects, a lot more of the work can be done inside Ghana with the welders that get trained here. So it'll all depend on what other investments are made in the country to allow that to happen. We as an industry and as a company have taken the effort and made the effort our own to help bridge the gap. We work with GNPC and the Ministry of Energy to identify the companies that want to do business in the oil and gas industry. We go do assessments of those companies, and then we provide that information back to the government. The government can then turn around and work with us to help bridge those gaps by identifying places like RMU to provide these types of training centers. This one is a little over $1 million with Ghanaian companies, and there was another $500,000 of Modec and Tullow labor involved.
And the head of Africa Research for Standard Chartered Bank, Razia Khan, is projecting the cedi will depreciate further against the dollar before the end of year. The local currency, which has held its own against other currencies for some weeks now, has started depreciating against the US dollar. It's now trading at almost 4 Ghana cedis among some commercial banks and forex bureaus. But Razia Khan says the cedi's value might improve if certain steps are taken by government.
If we see continued adherence to what is called for under the IMF program, if we see Ghana making an effort to reduce its budget deficit to even lower levels this year, if we see the Bank of Ghana refraining from financing the budget deficit itself, all of these things are factors that should lend themselves to Ghana cedi stability. As a result of that relative stabilization in the exchange rate, we're not saying that the cedi won't weaken or can't weaken, but hopefully the expectation is that it won't weaken as much as it tended to do in the past. As a result of that, with lower inflation, every Ghanaian should be better off.
Do you think that will stay within the 4 cedi range, or will go beyond that, or even come below?
Given Ghana's fundamentals, it still has a very substantial current account deficit. That still needs to be financed. Given those fundamentals, it's very difficult to say that the cedi isn't going to breach the 4 level again. What we do know is that contrary to expectations, the actions of the Bank of Ghana and the fact that demand has been more muted, demand for foreign exchange has been more muted, the plans for a liberalization of the foreign exchange market, for the moment that has helped the cedi to be perhaps more stable than many had anticipated.
So Razia Khan of Standard Chartered Bank bringing us to the end of business. But for more business stories, you can actually join me between 1 and 1:30 on the marketplace. My name is John Kojo Amuako. Coming up next is your sports.
Good afternoon, my name is Baba and I have the latest in the world of sports. Now let's begin with Ghana's Black Satellites, who are currently in action against the Red Foxes of Ethiopia at the Cape Coast Stadium in an African Youth Championship qualifier. Now the match was called off yesterday after a heavy downpour in Cape Coast prior to making the playing surface unplayable. The Satellites are hoping to overturn a 2-1 deficit or a 2-1 defeat away to Ethiopia a fortnight ago. Now let's get onto the phone lines and speak to Joy News' Central Regional Correspondent, Eric Asante, who is watching the game live from the Cape Coast Stadium. Hello, Eric. Good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time.
Hello, Baba. Good afternoon to you.
Eric, what's been happening so far? How many minutes played and what's the story to tell?
Well, we are getting to the last 2 minutes of play here at the new constructed Cape Coast Stadium. The Black Satellites of Ghana so far are leading by 2-0. The first goal came in the 7th minute through Yabua, and the second goal coming in through Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Dauda Mohammed. So the Black Satellite, they posted a 2-0 lead here at the newly constructed Echo Stadium.
Okay, now if you look at the play of the Black Satellites, we are not fortunate enough to see what's going on. But if you look at their body language, does it look like they are going to win this game?
Well, they are dominating all aspects of play, from defense through midfield and to attack. They really warmed themselves into the game. The Ethiopians occasionally come into the picture, but anytime they came, it was really, really dangerous. But of course, Didi Dramani says before kickoff that his boys are really ready for the task, and they'll make sure they qualify Ghana to the next stage of the competition.
Thank you very much, Eric Asante, for that update from the Cape Coast Stadium, where the Black Satellites of Ghana are leading Ethiopia's Red Foxes by 2-0. And this is a qualifier to the 2017 African Youth Championship. Let's head into the courtroom now. And the Circuit Court in Accra has adjourned from the Black Stars defender John Paintsil's assault case to Tuesday, June 14, 2016. Now, this was necessitated by the prosecution's failure to produce the docket on the case in the courts today. John Paintsil has been charged with stealing, offensive conduct and assault of a police officer after he was reported to have slapped the East Legon District Police Commander DSP Emmanuel Basin Tale in the right eye during interrogation in a case of card theft reported against him by his wife Richlove Paintsil. And because the district commander has become a victim in this case, the regional commander ACP Timothy Bonga Yusa has directed that he steps aside for the crime officer in the case in the district to handle the case, since he is now party to the case. Now, though the crime officer came to court today, the prosecutor insisted there was some miscommunication about when to commence the case. He therefore pleaded with the court for adjournment. The court then granted the prosecution's request after lawyer for John Paintsil, Kojoga Adaudu, agreed on the adjourned date. Meanwhile, lawyer for John Paintsil, Kojoga Adaudu, says his client never assaulted the Legon District Police Commander.
The investigator was saying that he had been trying to get to the prosecutor and he was not able to get to him. So there was a kind of miscommunication, and that's why we found ourselves. But now we have an understanding that we are coming, because you need to tell each party when is it being put before court, and we need to be aware also. You can't come to court without the other party knowing. That's why it happened.
Is your client frustrated?
My client, I may say it depends. Yes, he's happy that yes, finally this case may come to court for him to vindicate himself, that he's not a violent man as people think he is. Two, he's also been because it brought him some few challenges, and he wants the whole world to know and prove his innocence in this whole scheme of things that is happening.
But they also say that this might be something that could be resolved and not necessarily taken to court. Have you considered that option too?
It's a criminal matter. Yeah. They are bringing us to court, and we are happy to be in court. Because if we have, I believe that few people had spoken, and it is the states against us. We cannot go and say we want to negotiate. Yes, the court rules allow that we could, but we are here. And we want to actually prove our innocence to the whole world. Let the whole world hear. So we will see what happens in court tomorrow.
So your case is that he did not assault the police officer?
It never happened.
Before I go, information reaching Joy Sports indicates Ghana Football Association is on the brink of sealing a sponsorship deal with a Ghana-based automobile company, Privas Motors, to be the headline sponsor of the National Women's League. Now, according to the communications director of the GFA, Ibrahim Sanidara, talks are still underway and should be concluded in the not too distant future. The National Women's League has been without a sponsor ever since its inception 4 seasons ago, and should this deal be sealed, it will come in as a major boost for the 16 participating clubs across the country. It is expected that the deal will be announced before the second half of the National Women's League resumes this weekend. You can find more stories, including these ones, on the sports page of myjoyonline.com. We also tweet at Joy Sports GH. On Facebook, we're there as Joy Sports. My personal Twitter handle is at Barbara Tando. And that's it for your sports. Good afternoon. Let's talk some entertainment here on Joy News today. Now, the 2016 edition of Africa Movie Academy Awards AMA happened over the weekend at Wali International Conference Center in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The awards is organized to recognize and honor actors, film directors, and producers in the African film industry. Our cameras were there, and here are exclusive highlights from the awards.
To all agree, to achieve peace throughout the entertainment, our messages have to be passed across in indigenous voices, yes?
Award for Best Animation. Nominees are...
And the winner is...
The Fruitless Tree, Midday.
On behalf of the organizers of African Movie Academy Award, AMA 2016, we present this award to you.
Even as we have come here for AMA Award, it is an attestation that we are doing well in Africa. AMA is the first in terms of glorifying, appreciating the efforts we are making, producers are making, directors are making, crew people are making. And that's why each time they call, I endeavor to come and showcase my physical presence as a form of encouragement.
It has always been our dream, you know, promoting One Africa. So for me, it's really something I'm actually rooting for, and it's also something I really want to see happen often, you know, because whether we like it or not, we're one. And you know, when we tell our stories through our movies, we still promote the fact that we're one. So for me, it's something I...
Well, back home in Ghana, Hollywood actress and director Lisa Ray McCoy, first feature film Skinned, made its Ghana appearance at the Silverbird Cinema on June 10. Now, the Hollywood-produced movie, which highlights the effect of skin bleaching, recorded arguably the lowest turnout during its first premiere here in Ghana.
As hinted by the title, the film deals with colorism within the black community and centers around a young woman named Jolie, whose insecurities about her skin color, misconception about beauty, and search for romance causes her to bleach her skin beyond recognition in an attempt to capture the heart of the perfect suitor.
I see you found your wife. Excuse you? I wasn't speaking to you, doctor, but to this nice gentleman. Thank you.
Oh, well, this nice gentleman happens to be my husband. Yours. Hers.
That's it for the segment. Join us 4:45 on Let's Talk Entertainment for more updates in the world of entertainment. My name is Becky.
But that'll be it for the news this afternoon on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. My name is Kwabena Chencheniboachi. Remember, there's a lot more news when you visit www.myjoyonline.com. Up next is The Marketplace with John Kujamako. Many thanks for your company.
The VOR Act would make it ride higher.